too much for making this selection. I don't know whether uh, this song, which ideally should have been the anthem of Bengal, because it actually describes undivided Bengal, and Dwijendralal Roy, D.L. Roy, the composer of this song, was one of the most illustrious sons of Bengal. He belonged to Nadia district, specifically Krishnanagar, and a number of his songs evoke the sense of the motherland in the truest adhyatmic and spiritual sense. And I think the last line is exactly what we all wish for: to be born, to be reborn, to be continuously born in this land, and to die also in this land. So thank you very much. Onek dhonnobad. The dilemma is, I don't know whether as things are moving, whether Bangladesh would accept this song any longer. Why not? And why this challenge is there, why this question arises, I'll come to that in a while. Dr. Baligaji, my very dear friend, Dr. Rajesh Padmar, Karunakarji, Pramodji, and all others distinguished guests who are here, I'm extremely honored to be present here on the forum of Manthan. And whenever the call from Manthan comes, one leaves aside everything else and makes this a priority. So I'm extremely grateful to Rajesh ji, whom I have known for years, for giving me an opportunity to come here and to share a few thoughts and insights on a topic that is disturbing all of us. Now, I belong to, my ancestors, not very long ago, belonged to Dhaka. Dhaka Bikrampur. We Gangulis are normally known to be coming from Dhaka Bikrampur. But Dhaka Bikrampur is known for another very historic figure. I mean not another in that sense, but a very historic figure. And that is Atish Dipankar, one of the iconic Buddhist monks who traveled all across the world, especially Tibet and Southeast Asia, and was one of the preeminent acharyas of Buddhism in India in the ancient times. So I belong to that region, and I'm very proud to say that in a sense all of us are descendants of Atisha Dipankar. And for you may know that Bangladesh also has a sizable Buddhist population. It has a Buddhist legacy, a Buddhist heritage, a Buddhist tradition. Atisha Dipankara symbolized that. And today, as things stand, just about a month ago, Buddhist monks in Bangladesh could not, did not, and refused to undertake a very solemn and significant rituals of theirs, which is known as Kathin Chivaradan, which is usually signifying the resuming of activities after the break, the monsoon break. And it's a very sacred activity. They did not do it. They could not do it in protest. They did not do it. So it's very interesting, I mean, for people who say, for very knowledgeable people who say that conditions of minorities in Bangladesh and conditions of minorities in India are the same. They don't realize that Buddhists are being hunted and hounded in Bangladesh as we speak today. Whereas in India, Pali is accorded the status of a classical language. The Indian Prime Minister says that the Asian century cannot be envisaged without Buddha. And he himself takes a preeminent role in not only preserving Buddha's legacy, but in reviving and launching the Nalanda University, which was destroyed by Islamic invaders in the 12th century. So this is the status of Buddhists in India, and that is the status of Buddhists in Bangladesh today. But I'll come to that a little later. As we speak, I just start with a few figures because it's very difficult to understand from where to start. So I'll start with a few figures. And when we speak about minorities in Bangladesh, the largest minority in Bangladesh are Hindus, and there are Buddhists and there are Christians in Bangladesh. So 64 districts in Bangladesh between 5th and 20th August, when the problem started, between 48 and 52 districts saw minorities being attacked. There were 2010 plus incidents of attacks on minorities, vandalization, killing, as well as injuries on minorities. Christian churches were also attacked. The Bangladesh Christian Association has specifically come out with a report which says that in districts like Mymensingh, Thakurgaon, Dinajpur, Nagaon, Christian churches were vandalized, they were attacked. Christian associations were attacked. And Christians in general were terrorized. Buddhist villages were attacked between 5th August and 20th August, but oh, am I audible? Is it okay? Am I audible? I mean, I can speak louder, but I just thought I can speak without a mic also, because we should have the power to shout also, to protest. Buddhist villages were attacked, and a very interesting phenomenon, Hindu crematoriums, Buddhist crematoriums were occupied. And in Buddhist majority regions like in the Chittagong district, on the sides and the northern portions of Chittagong district, Rangamati, Khagrachari and Bandarban, Buddhists were especially in the Chittagong hill tracts, they were attacked and killed. 16 Buddhist youth died in the last few days. Tribals also have been attacked. Tribals have been attacked, while we in India, there is a specially designated day for celebrating contribution of tribal leaders to India's freedom movement, Janajati Gaurav Divas. There are a number of schemes which have been launched. Special museums for tribal culture have been announced and are under construction. In Bangladesh, tribals are being attacked. Tribal women are being abducted. Tribal statues of tribal icons are being vandalized. And tribal homes, tribal shops are being set on fire. Tribal land is being occupied. This is for those who say that the condition of tribals in Bangladesh and in India, the condition of minorities in Bangladesh and in India are similar. It is for them, it's not for us, but just for the sake of flagging it. There have been 1,000 cases of extortion, 1,000 reported cases of extortion, reported and recorded cases of extortion in the last few months. It's been 100 days that this so-called regime of advisors, an advisor with advisors, has come to power. I mean, whom is the chief advisor advising? And why does an advisor need advisors to advise him? Is something very interesting. This is a very interesting porridge government that we have in Bangladesh today. If at all it can be called a government. A very interesting, disturbing phenomenon that has taken place is the forced resignation of minorities, especially of Hindu teachers, Hindu academics, across institutions in Bangladesh. Vice Chancellor, there's the Bangladesh University of Engineering and Technology, BUET. You know that university where they put the Indian flag and they started walking on it. I'll come to that. There are many things that I need to come to. I don't know, I'll have to finish in half an hour. the Vice Chancellor of the Bangladesh University of Engineering and Technology, the Vice Chancellor of Qazi Nazrul University, the Pro-Vice Chancellor of Chittagong University, the Vice Chancellor of Khulna University of Engineering and Technology, all of them were forced to resign practically under gunpoint. They were all minorities. They were all Hindu established academics as vice chancellors and heads of their institutions. 1,500 plus teachers at the school level, college level, university level have been forced to resign. And many of them, you must have seen this on social media, many of them have also been forced to convert. Hindu officers in the police have been summarily dismissed. The Bangladesh police has a predominant presence, used to have a predominant presence of Hindu officers, not so much in the army, but in the police. They were forced to resign. There has been a reduction in the number of Durga Pujas. You must have heard the chief advisor going around saying that the Durga Puja has been very peaceful. You remember in 2021, when the Awami League government was in power, there were attacks on Durga Puja pandals. And they were also strictly counted. I took a round of Bangladesh in just a few months after that. I went around various places. You could already see the Islamists, the radical elements, gathering themselves and organizing themselves. There was a reduction in the number of Durga Puja. This year, Bangladesh saw 1,000 pujas less than previous years. And there were incidents of vandalization of pandals in various places. There were incidents where the Islamists forced themselves into a Durga Puja pandal and started singing Islamic songs. I mean, if songs there are, I don't know. Songs are supposed to be haram for them. But they sang some songs, some Islamic songs in the Durga Puja pandal. And 59% of attacks that took place on Hindus were to do with places of worship and property. Grabbing of property, desecration of places of worship. You must have heard of the Joshereshwari Mandir in Satkhira, where the goddess's crown, which was offered and donated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, was stolen. And the chief advisor and his chief law enforcers, they said that, the Hindus were callous. They did not look after their goddess well, and so that is why it was stolen. This was the logic that was given. The idols were vandalized. 19 Durga Puja pandals across 14 districts were vandalized. And in a number of areas, Hindus were prohibited from playing music when the azan would take place. Some such similar pattern was seen in West Bengal also this time during the Durga Puja, for the first time in the history of West Bengal. And Hindu goddesses were subjected to obscene gestures and obscene words, expletives, and when protests took place, the law enforcers arrested those who were protesting and not those who desecrated and abused Hindu goddesses. So I just wanted to give you a brief background of the situation today as we are speaking. But there's one difference from the past, and that is a difference that we need to recognize, because our topic is Hindus in Bangladesh. Please let us realize and let us understand that for the first time in 70 years perhaps, today, in spite of this onslaught, in spite of this challenge, Hindus in Bangladesh, 70 to 73% of Hindus in Bangladesh have organized themselves, are protesting and are resisting these. And this is unprecedented. It has not happened. So please, we should also take it in our mind, because when we say the way ahead is to create greater awareness, because there's an entire ideological conglomerate in this country which comprises of ideologues, academics, and media personnel who want us to forget what is happening in Bangladesh today. Like they wanted us to forget the partition of Bengal, like they wanted us to forget how the Bengali Hindus became a refugee and yet could not live a life of dignity. Nobody spoke about the disappearing population of Bangladesh, of East Pakistan. In 1941-47, East Pakistan had a population of 28% Hindus, roughly 30% Hindus. And that population has come down. If you go according to the 2022 census, it has come down to 7.95%. Where has that population gone? Nobody wanted to discuss that. Especially the communists and the Congress did not want to discuss it. So similarly, they don't want us to discuss what is happening in Bangladesh today. They want us to believe that it is routine and it is a routine which will set in some pattern and be over after a while. No. Because today, on the one hand, we see a Hindu resistance in Bangladesh, and on the other hand, Bangladesh is facing its gravest crisis since the assassination of Sheikh Mujib in 1975. Now, I want to ask you whether you can hear a few voices. I can't. Can you? I mean, let us try and hear a few voices. I can't. There is a very famous Bengali Nobel laureate, Amartya Sen, who keeps writing letters to the New York Times, who says that there's a depreciation of democracy in India, that the constitution is in danger, etc., etc., blah blah blah. But you don't hear him. Last 100 days, I have not heard him say a word, speak out against what is happening in Bangladesh. Neither Amartya Sen, neither Professor Pranab Bardhan, great economist living in the US, neither Amitav Ghosh, Poppy, Sea of Poppy and Smoke Screen and whatnot. You would hear them speaking. Abhijit Banerjee, Nobel laureate? No, no, I can't. Can you? I can't. I can't. I have tried 100 days. I've tried to listen to them. Either I am deaf or they are not spoken. No, nobody, no Nobel laureate, none of these illustrious Bengalis. One of them is a Bharat Ratna also. None of these illustrious Bengalis have spoken out in the last 100 days and advised the advisor, who is also a Nobel laureate, that please don't pretend to be what you are not. Nobody has raised a voice against what is happening in Bangladesh, but ordinary Bengalis, the Bengali diaspora, not only the Bengali diaspora, the Indian diaspora living across the world has raised the banner of protest. In major capitals across Europe, across the US, in India, in the last 48 to 72 hours, the banner of protest have arisen. So this time again, there's something very interesting happening. While the Hindus are also resisting in Bangladesh, the global Indian diaspora is protesting more than it has done in the past. In the way ahead, our duty is to keep that protest alive, to keep up the international pressure. It doesn't matter if a certain sold out Nobel laureate is not speaking out against it. Let us speak out against it. Let us stand up for it. Let us write, let us speak, let us organize like we have got together today. I think that is important. Now, you know a few points that, to put it in perspective, we need to have a few points that we just need to keep at the front of our mind. 13, I said that this population from 28 to 30% in 1941-47 has come down to 7.95%. There's a disappearing population, and the steepest decline of Hindus took place in Bangladesh between 1947 and 74. And the worst pogrom that started was in February 1950, and then it continued. Please remember that East Pakistan, which used to be known as East Bengal, Purbo Bangla, East Pakistan used to be treated as a colony by West Pakistan. 70% of Pakistan's exports between 1960 and 61 were of material that they had extracted from East Pakistan. And in 1970, October 1970, one of the most frightening cyclones, Cyclone Bhola, some of seniors who are here would know, 5 lakh people were killed in East Pakistan. And West Pakistan General Yaya's regime did not organize relief for them. And in 1971, the Pakistan army undertook the biggest genocide ever to have been undertaken by a commissioned army in the history of the world, if I leave out Nazi Germany. The Pakistan army massacred, slaughtered intellectuals, students, raped thousands of women, and completely destroyed East Pakistan's educational infrastructure, its societal composition, and it also saw the largest number of Hindus migrate to India because of the actions of the Pakistan army. Now, gentlemen and ladies, friends, the greatest irony is those who are ruling Bangladesh today feel, after all this, I just gave you 3 examples. West Pakistan treating East Pakistan as a colony, extracting it. West Pakistan not carrying out relief operation for East Pakistan when the greatest cyclone in history hit East Pakistan and killed 5 lakh people. And West Pakistani army slaughtering East Pakistanis in 1971. And today, those who are leading Bangladesh feel that Pakistan is their greatest friend. They feel they are safest under Pakistan. And therefore, Bangladeshi embassies all across the world have been told to process rapidly any application for visa that have been given by Pakistanis. And not only that, we have some very great Bangladeshi intellectuals. I'll just give you an example. There's one Professor Shahiduzzaman of the Dhaka University. He's a scientist. You'll find his videos online also. He's very articulate. And so he has come up with a theory. He says that while addressing military officers a few days ago, he said that Bangladesh must nuclearize itself. And what does he mean by nuclearization? He doesn't mean that Bangladesh ought to create an atom bomb or a nuclear bomb. Not like Zulfikar Bhutto said, we'll eat grass, but we'll have the nuclear bomb and we'll have 1,000 years war with India. Not that. These people in Bangladesh today are quite clever. They said nuclearization of Bangladesh means we want Bangladesh to come under the nuclear ambit of Pakistan. Not have its own nuclear weapons, but come under the nuclear ambit of Pakistan. And why? And these are his words. Pakistan is the most reliable, trustworthy ally of Bangladesh. Pakistan doesn't want us to become a vassal state of India. They will do anything to protect us from Indians. And as he said this, there was loud applause. You must be listening in shocked silence. But when he said this, there was loud applause in the auditorium. So it has come a full circle. And why I am saying this is to make you understand or make you conscious, aware of the fact that today those who are in charge in Bangladesh are those very forces who opposed the liberation war of 1971. They were known as the Razakars. It sounds a bell, Razakar in this part of the country also, neighboring in this portion. They were Razakars. They were known as the Razakars, and the Jamaat was at the forefront of collaborating with Pakistan. The Jamaat opposed the liberation war, and the Jamaat stands for everything that the liberation war did not stand for. The Jamaat today, in team with 2 radical Islamist organizations, the Hifazat-e-Islam and the Hizb ut-Tahrir, are the ones who are controlling issues, controlling the entire situation in Bangladesh. And they were the very forces which opposed the liberation war. And therefore, again, something very shocking and interesting which points at the future happened on 5th August. Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujib's house was destroyed. His museum was gutted. The statues were defaced, and any memorial that was dedicated to Bangladesh Liberation War showing Indian soldiers and Mukti Juddhas together were defaced and destroyed. This has never happened in the history of 50 years history of Bangladesh. On the other hand, Dhaka University, which used to be the seat of student protest and which saw over the years, Dhaka University was the incubator which led towards Bangladesh Liberation War and the creation of Bangladesh. That same Dhaka University and a large network of private universities in Bangladesh have become the epicenter of radicalism. Let us not be under the impression that walking over the Indian flag was just a kind of a emotional reaction. Bangladesh over the years has developed a large network of private universities. And these private universities today have become the centers of radicalization. You may remember in 2016, the Holy Artisan Bakery attack took place, where around 20 people were killed. There was one Indian, there were Italians, the Bangladeshis, the Americans. And those who carried out the attack on the Holy Artisan Bakery were students belonging to the North-South University, which is one of the largest private university in Dhaka and one of the centers of radicalism. So you have university radicalism taking place. You have a dispensation in Bangladesh which is increasingly being controlled by the Jamaat. And you have an advisor who is just the mukhota, who is just the mask, who has no say, who has no control. And he makes these ludicrous statements like, oh, these are all exaggerated. These are not, these are political in nature, the attacks on minorities. These are all exaggerated. It's nothing serious. When the elections take place, so we have to first bring in reforms in the election process, then we'll take it forward, etc. So he's kept it very vague. He has deliberately kept it very vague. And as we speak today, Rajeshji, today is Pranab Das' birth anniversary. Please remember that when he was the president, Pranab Mukherjee had visited, he had visited Bangladesh. It was in 2013. And during his state visit, the Jamaat had called a 2-day strike in Bangladesh, and crude bombs were hurled in front of the hotel in which the President of India was staying, had put up. It is that Jamaat today which is in control. And as far as India is concerned, they're completely anti-India. They want India's disintegration. They want separation of India's northeast from India. I mean, I was saying that today is third day already. I mean, when I came here, some of you, throughout the day, quite a few of you were referring to the army veterans who were saying that they'll take control of Calcutta in 4 days, etc. So today is the third day. I don't know tomorrow whether Calcutta will be there with India or will go to Bangladesh. So I was planning to rush back as far as possible. This is the mentality. The ex-servicemen association are penetrated by the Jamaat. They have no presence except that to stand in front of television crews, in front of television cameras, and to make these statements. On the other hand, the chief advisor, who's a Nobel laureate, has an international acceptability, because no Nobel laureate except Kailash Satyarthi, who has come out speaking against the atrocities on minorities, no other Nobel laureate opens their mouth. So this is one facade for the international community. And on the other hand, this is the condition of minorities in Bangladesh today. Sufi dargahs, Hazrat Nizamuddin, people living around Hazrat Nizamuddin in Delhi have written a letter asking illegal Bangladeshis to be thrown out of India. A large number of Sufi dargahs, which has never happened earlier, Sufi dargahs have been vandalized and destroyed in Bangladesh this time. And not only that, you may have followed one by one, some of the most dreaded terrorists, head of terrorist organizations, have been released by this dispensation. One of them is a very notorious Jashimuddin Rahmani. He is chief of the Ansarul Bangla, which is a very dreaded terrorist organization. He is the one who motivated these young students to go on a killing spree of writers and bloggers in Bangladesh. This Jashimuddin Rahmani was in detention. He was released, and the first thing he says after being released is that West Bengal must be separate, India must be partitioned, and West Bengal must form a separate country. These are the kind of elements which are being released by the present dispensation Muhammad Yunus government in Bangladesh. ISKCON is not only a religious organization in Bangladesh. ISKCON has a large number of public and social welfare activities in the country. This demand for banning ISKCON, this demand for designating ISKCON as a terrorist organization is not an off-the-cuff observation and remark. There's a plan to it. ISKCON and several such other Hindu organizations, even the Ramakrishna Mission was attacked. Various ISKCON centers have been attacked. The reason for trying to designate ISKCON as a terrorist organization is to try and break the back of Hindus. And therefore, Hindu places of worship are being specifically targeted, because in Bangladesh, these Hindu places of worship, whether it is the Bharat Sevashram Sangh, whether it is the ISKCON, whether it is the Ram Thakur and Anukul Chandra Thakur ashrams, they are the centers of congregation for Hindus. And these are being specifically, therefore, targeted. Now, I'll give you two examples of the kind of people today who run the show in Bangladesh. The chief advisor we know the kind of corruption that he has indulged in the name of microfinancing. We know the kind of business empire that he runs across the world. And we also know his connection with George Soros. We know Soros is there everywhere. He's also a very close friend of the chief advisor today in Bangladesh. I'll give you two examples of the kind of people who are advising and running the government in Bangladesh. Advisor Home Affairs, Lieutenant General Jahangir Alam Chowdhury, a retired general. He has an intense hatred for India. And it was in evidence a number of times. For example, in 2004, when this general was the DG of the border guards of Bangladesh, the then DG of BSF had given him specific details of terror camps that were operating out of Bangladesh. General Jahangir Alam Chowdhury not only dismissed it, he said there is not a single camp in Bangladesh. And look at the cheekiness. He said we looked for all the camps in Bangladesh. There's not a single camp in Bangladesh. We looked for the camp's location given in the BSF list. Some of the addresses were of our cantonment area and our headquarters. During the same visit, he said, in respect of illegal Bangladeshi entrance in India, illegal Bangladeshi infiltrators in India, in Bangalore also you have a large number. He said, why should people come from Bangladesh to India? Your economic situation is not better than Bangladesh's. There are 50,000 Indians in Bangladesh who have entered the country illegally. He added that if India's economy was better than Bangladesh's, you would not have gone for work in the Middle East and the Arab countries. This is the mindset. Such intense hatred for India. You may remember there was floods in Bangladesh just in the month of August, towards the end of August. They said, these very people said, these floods are created by India. And then they realized that districts of Tripura as well as of Bangladesh were all flooded because of excessive rainfall. Nothing to do with the dams. But they immediately provoked passion. They made statements and then kept quiet about it when the truth emerged. There is another advisor for religious affairs, A.F. Khalid Hussain. Who is Khalid Hussain? He is the Naib Emir of Hifazat-e-Islam. In the sense, he is the head of Hifazat-e-Islam. Hifazat-e-Islam, which is one of the most radical. You can make out from the title of the organization, from the name of the organization. And this Khalid Hussain is bitterly hostile to India, and 13 persons were killed and scores injured in clashes between Hifazat supporters on the one hand and the security forces and Awami League activists on the other hand. When Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited Dhaka on the occasion of the 50th anniversary of Bangladesh Liberation War in 2021. As late as 2021, when Modi ji visited Dhaka, Hifazat-e-Islam, you would remember those scenes, they gave out a call to protest against the visiting Prime Minister of India. And 13 people were killed in those clashes. I just give you two examples. There are 14 advisors. But I give you these two examples to show what are the kind of people with whom we have to deal with or whom we have to expose. I have a few more minutes. Just a few more minutes and not. Now coming to I just want to give you a background in history, which is important to know what is happening in Bangladesh today. And it is essential because unless we know that, we will not be able to judge what is happening today. Now, I have pointed out the differences that have taken place, that are there in the crisis today, what is happening today to what happened earlier in the last 5 decades. Now, you would know that after Mujib's assassination, the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, which used to be the principal opposition party, which came to power for the first time with Jamaat in a coalition in 2001. And 2001 was the largest anti-Hindu pogroms that took place in Bangladesh, and there was a huge displacement. After 2001, 2004, this is the most major challenge that has taken place. Now, Bangladesh Nationalist Party has always been opposed. Interestingly, though some of its leaders were part of the liberation war, somehow it went into the ambit of Pakistan. And it has been continuously opposed to the liberation war. In 2001, it formed a coalition with the Jamaat. And that was the first time that the experiment of a radical Islamist coalition took place in Bangladesh. Since then, the Bangladesh Nationalist Party has become a junior partner to the Jamaat. The Jamaat today has become a dominant partner. The Jamaat is in pharmaceutical, the Jamaat is in infrastructure, the Jamaat is in media, the Jamaat is in the army. It is everywhere. It was banned and yet it survived. And very interestingly, it received all support and shelter in foreign capitals, primarily UK and the United States. It had a very well-oiled international machinery. And its sole agenda was, and continues to be, to come back to power in Bangladesh, which it has done, to ensure that no elections take place, which it is trying to push, to dissolve the present constitution, which it is working on, to establish a completely Islamic nation, which will be driven by Sharia, where the concept of women empowerment and development will be completely non-existent. In 1990s, when Sheikh Hasina was there, a number of women development initiatives had started. The moment the BNP Jamaat came to power in 2001, they stopped these initiatives. So that mindset is there. And no Hindus, no minorities in any strata of Bangladeshi society. A minority-free Bangladesh. And I think this minority-free Bangladesh, this philosophy, this very nefarious philosophy, is being challenged also for the first time by the minorities in Bangladesh. So as we stand today, the situation is evolving. What the army will do, That remains to be seen. The Jamaat wants its person as the army chief. The police had a very positive role during the students' protest. And talking about the student protest, we should remember that student protests take place everywhere across the world. But where would you find bullets? Where would you find sophisticated weapons and arms recovered from an area where student protests were taking place? And please remember that these students, when they were protesting, they were also abusing India. And we had parties like the Communist Party of India, Marxist in India, the Communist Party of India, CPIML, Marxist and Leninist. They could have done Marxist, Leninist and Maoist. But Marxist, Leninist issuing statements in support of these students. And these students were actually abusing India. And this student protest started off as a student protest, but was very soon hijacked by the Jamaat, by the Hifazat and the Hizb ut-Tahrir. And it became a violent protest. And many of those who led the student protest today are advisors in the interim government led by Dr. Muhammad Yunus. Most of them have Islamist backgrounds also. And so therefore, this student protest also was something which Bangladesh had not seen earlier. No student protest saw firing. No student protest saw high sophisticated weapons being used. And you would remember the earlier security advisor in this government. He was changed overnight when he said in a public press conference that bullets, arms, ammunition were recovered from the protest site normally used by terrorists and soldiers, not by students. Now I very quickly run you through what has happened in the last 10 years between India and Bangladesh. In a few minutes. In the last 10 years have been extremely important in terms of peace and stability in India's northeast. Let us remember that the 2015 land boundary agreement, which could not be resolved from 1974, was resolved. And India, in the historic agreement, the transfer of 111 enclaves took place. India received 51 enclaves adding up to 7,110 acres. Bangladesh was given 111 acres, 11 enclaves amounting to 17,000 plus acres. We gave our land boundary agreement, and it was a historic agreement which was not being addressed for the last 40 years. Bangladesh received 30 million COVID vaccines from India during the peak of COVID pandemic. Of this, more than 3 million were given free of cost by India, and the others were given at a much lesser rate. India has also been one of the biggest source of foreign direct investment for Bangladesh. And in 2017, India announced a 5 billion loan to Bangladesh and signed bilateral pacts to step up nuclear and defense cooperation. India has been one of the biggest sources of electricity for Bangladesh. By the financial year 2022-23, Bangladesh had signed 3 deals to buy 2,656 megawatt of electricity from Indian power plants. I'm just running you through this. And reliable and steady supply of electricity from India did play a positive role in the journey of Bangladesh to emerge as a $400 billion economy with a sizable textile industry. This is what we have done for the last 10 years for Bangladesh. So those who are today standing in Bangladesh and abusing India have been beneficiaries of this. They have not been discriminated against. They have fully benefited by the boom in the Bangladesh economy because of India's support. India has been one of the biggest destinations for treatment for Bangladeshis. A number of hospitals in West Bengal and in Tripura have said they're not going to treat Bangladeshi patients. Very good. I hope more such hospitals also follow. We don't have to be humanitarian at this point of time, at least not for some time. But one thing also we should remember, that the Jamaat support amongst the population is not as much that it claims. It has a support of a section, but it doesn't have the support of the large overwhelming population. And all these characters and specimens and types that you see on television going hammer and tongs against India, they're all ruthless wonders. Some of them have come from abroad, come back to Bangladesh from abroad. Some of them have just, surfaced just for the TRP sake of it. Trade between India and Bangladesh has also suffered immensely because of this. And Bangladesh continues to face shortage of electricity. There is a forex reserve situation. And the challenge also remains for our Northeast. It is the declared policy of the Islamist groups and of Jamaat to try and dismember, disengage India's Northeast from India. This is a declared policy of theirs. You must have seen sir, every other day one BNP leader is coming on television burning his wife's sari because they're Indian saris. And then he's saying he wants Bengal, Bihar and Odisha. But these are okay. I mean, these clowns are there. But this works at the back of the mind. But the best part is also that most of the BNP leaders who are in exile have not been able to come back to Bangladesh because they're not sure whether they'll come back and be able to do their politics in Bangladesh under the Jamaat. The other challenge is our maritime boundary, because Pakistan wants to supply arms to Bangladesh through the sea route. So these are multiple challenges that are there, and the way ahead is this. What happens in January 20? On 20th January 2025 is something to be seen. Because I think the Americans have played a very negative role. The American, should I say, deep state, has had an extremely negative approach to this entire situation. America's attitude in 1971 is the same attitude that it is displaying today. In 1971, it sided with Pakistan, it opposed the liberation war, and it opposed India's support to the creation of Bangladesh. The Americans today are taking the same line. I hope they take this line only till January 20th. After that, the line for force should change, but it is not helping. It is not helping, and therefore, the way ahead for us is to continue with creating the international pressure which is happening, and to highlight the human rights dimension of this, to highlight the dangers that minorities are facing, to highlight the discrimination that the Hindu community is facing, and to continuously highlight this at the international level and also at the national level, because we share one of the longest boundaries with Bangladesh. We share one of the longest boundaries with Bangladesh. And even the West Bengal Chief Minister, I don't want to make any political comment here, but this is for general knowledge. West Bengal Chief Minister till the other day would say Joy Bangla. And we would keep saying that, look, Joy Bangla is not a slogan, it's Bangladesh's slogan. Joy Bangla was coined by Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujib. Joy Bangla cannot be the slogan of the Chief Minister of West Bengal. You say Joy Paschim Bangla, or you say Bharat Mata Ki Jai, but they have an allergy to say Bharat Mata Ki Jai. Now she kept saying Joy Bangla, Joy Bangla, Joy Bangla. She kept saying, more we said, don't say Joy Bangla, it's Bangladesh's slogan. She kept saying, and today the Jamaat wants to remove Joy Bangla. So I don't know what slogan next she'll take. But there is a realization in West Bengal that the Hindus of West Bengal are extremely concerned, and they see reflections of what is happening in Bangladesh today. They see that happening in West Bengal also. For the first time, as I said, this year in Durga Puja, you had pandals, Durga Puja pandals being vandalized. You had Durga Puja in Bangalore, you know how it is. Durga Puja all across the country, all across the world. For the first time in Kolkata, Durga Puja pandals, some of the Durga Puja pandals were given a diktat that you are not to play music or do mantrocharan when the azan is going on. Please remember that we have a mayor in Kolkata today who had once said that certain portions of Calcutta had become mini Pakistan. And he did not say this out of concern. He said it very appreciatively. We have a mayor in Kolkata today who says openly in a public meeting that unfortunate are those who have not accepted Islam. So naturally, the Hindu population, the Hindus of West Bengal are concerned. And let us remember that West Bengal was created as a Hindu homeland. West Bengal was created for Hindus. 75 years ago, Dr. Shama Prasad Mukherjee, supported by a large number of Bengali intellectuals, supported by the Congress High Command. The Congress has forgotten its history. Jairam Ramesh would not remember because he continuously goes on Twitter, fighting with us. Congress has forgotten its history. It doesn't know that the Congress Working Committee supported the creation of West Bengal, the demand for which was passed by the Hindu Mahasabha on April 1947 at the Tarakeshwar Convention. And the word Hindu homeland was used by Sri N.C. Chatterjee, father of Somnath Chatterjee, who was president of the Provincial Hindu Mahasabha, and by Dr. Shama Prasad Mukherjee, who was at that time All India president of the Hindu Mahasabha. The Congress Working Committee supported it, Sardar Patel supported it, Mahatma Gandhi supported it, Nehru obviously supported it. Even the Bengal Pradesh Congress Committee led by Dr. B.C. Roy, Surendra Mohan Ghosh, Atulya Ghosh and all other leaders supported the creation of West Bengal. The Communist Party of India, there was CPI, there was no CPIM at that time. Communist Party of India led by Comrade Jyoti Basu realized, though he belongs to the other part of Bengal like me, but Comrade Jyoti Basu realized that if he did not vote for the creation of West Bengal, his own politics would be over. So as a member of the Bengal Legislative Assembly, he supported and voted like all the other Hindu MLAs for the creation of West Bengal, but the communists then went out of the assembly and on the roads they shouted, blame Shama Prasad Mukherjee for dividing Bengal. Okay, we give it to them, duplicitous. There's a very interesting incident. The communists today, if you read the CPIM Politburo's statement given out on the expressing their concern for minorities in Bangladesh, they say, we are very concerned about this, but minorities in India also are facing this problem. But this is their attitude. This has been their attitude for the last 75 years. They said, we do not want division of Bengal. While Shama Prasad Mukherjee, after August 16th, August 1946, direct action, they said that we cannot live with a radicalized Islamic majority and we would want our own state as Bengali Hindus, a state which will be an integral part of India, a state in which the Bengali Hindus will be able to protect their religious, cultural, economic freedom. The communists said, we do not want division of Bengal. Many of you will think, oh, it's a very good idea. They did not want division of Bengal. They said, we don't want division of Bengal. We want united Bengal, but we want the whole of Bengal to go to Pakistan. This has been their attitude. They were at the forefront of supporting Jinnah's demand for Muslim League, Muslim League's demand for Pakistan. At every public meeting after the Pakistan resolution was passed in 1940, at every public meeting, the CPI passed resolutions in support of Pakistan. They organized meetings in Chittagong, all across East Bengal, they organized meetings. They supported the demand, they passed resolutions. And therefore, that same attitude one sees today. So I think, going beyond partisan politics, because, and I want to say this, Rajeshji, I have written it in my book, it is the RSS, the Sangha, the Jana Sangh, and later the BJP, these political and non-political organizations, for the last 70 years, have kept up the issue of atrocities on minorities in East Pakistan and Bangladesh, have kept up this issue on the surface for the last 75 years. It is because of the Sangha, it is because of the Jana Sangh at that time led by Dr. Shama Prasad Mukherjee and later Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay, and later it is because of the BJP. They kept alive this entire issue. Otherwise, this issue would have been long forgotten. And if you go into the history on the other side today, why is the depletion of population of Hindus from 28% to 7.95%? It is the forgotten partition, the unending partition. There was a complete exchange of population on the Punjab front. But on the eastern front, Nehru refused to undertake a complete exchange of population. The Bengali Hindu refugees were given only relief, they were not given rehabilitation. And Nehru said they would have to go back. Sardar Patel, Babasaheb Ambedkar, Dr. Shama Prasad Mukherjee advocated complete exchange of population. Nehru did not. And that is why this continuing pogrom, This continuing displacement of Hindu populations that took place for the last 50 years till CA was passed as a historic step. I think if we look at this backdrop, if we look at this background, and the slogans that are being given today against the Hindu minorities in Bangladesh were the same slogans that were being given 70 years ago. In those days, even if you had 1950 February, even if you had photograph of Nehru and Gandhi in your house would be burnt. Some of Babasaheb Ambedkar's closest followers, they were attacked, their houses gutted. And you know of Jogendranath Mandal, he is becoming so much more relevant today. Jogendranath Mandal as the first law and labor minister of Pakistan, All India Scheduled Caste Federation leader, close associate of Babasaheb Ambedkar, had to leave Pakistan in 3 years and run away to India. His 8,000 word resignation letter is a testimony to what happened to the Hindus then and what would happen over the years also. But that is a separate subject of debate, of talk. I'll end with reminding you this two things. Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, November 1947, publicly gave out a statement saying that the Dalits who are left back in Pakistan should immediately come away to India. And if they have been forcibly converted there, we will take care of them here. They need not be frightened because of that. Pardon? Yes, I was coming to that. Thank you. I'm very happy that there's such an informed audience. And he said, exactly, he told Nehru that the government must ensure that they be brought back. And this was a demand in 1950 May. There was one journalist called Mr. Venkatraman, representative of the Hindu in Kolkata. He had a secret meeting with Jogendranath Mandal in Dhaka. Please look at Sardar Patel correspondences edited by Durgadas, volume 10. That entire letter is there. He then gave a report to the IB. The IB shared that report with Sardar Patel, who passed it on to Rajendra Prasad as well. And Jogendranath Mandal says there, and this was May 1950, he says that how the schools are being Islamized, you are being forced to chant Jinnah Ki Jai and Pakistan Jindabad, you cannot hold your Saraswati Puja there. I used to look at myself as a leader of the Dalits only. Now I look at myself as a leader of the Hindus. And I'm going around, and he gives that description in that interview. This was in May 1950, in October 1950, he came. Last, we should also remember with a lot of gratefulness, because we are in Bangalore, I have quoted him in my book, K. Hanumantayya. I don't know if the Congress is remembering, he's been forgotten. In interim Lok Sabha, at that time, in the interim parliament, Lok Sabha had not yet, there was no, first general election was still a few months away. He tells Nehru, he says, he also advocates exchange of population. He says that is the only way, please ensure exchange of population on the Eastern Front. And if Pakistan can't guarantee safety of its minorities and they're coming away on this side, we should also empty some space on this side. This is K. Hanumantayya, second Chief Minister of Mysore State, Karnataka. We should quote him. We should send the quotes to those who need it, who have forgotten. And when Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee in Parliament tells Nehru that please effectuate exchange of population, why are you not doing it? Why are you only giving them relief and not rehabilitation? Nehru says, no, it will be harmful economically, spiritually, etc., socially. So Shyama Prasad Mukherjee tells him, why didn't you use that logic in Punjab? Why didn't you use that logic in Punjab where there was complete exchange of population? Why are you using this logic on the Eastern Front where the Bengali Hindu refugees are daily coming away? Please keep that logic in cold storage and effectuate exchange of population. But obviously it didn't happen. So when we look at Bangladesh today, we have to see it in that backdrop also. And no holds barred. I think we should be sensible in the sense, not being emotional. We should have a no holds barred attitude and approach as citizens of India, whose leaders and whose ancestors, many of whose ancestors used to live in that part of the country, in that part of the world, and as citizens of a free country whose leaders in the past had promised that whenever Hindus, minorities in East Pakistan then and Bangladesh later would face difficulties, we would stand with them. As citizens of this country, we should raise our voice. We should continue generating awareness. Karnataka, Bangalore is a place where there's a lot of intellectual churning that goes on. Many writers here, many columnists here. We should encourage them to write, to speak, and to continue to keep this issue alive till this situation changes and reverses. A country which is one of the most safest countries in the world because it is surrounded by India wants submarines and nuclear weapons. So you can understand the state of mind. And this conspiracy of silence must not go unchallenged. So thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to say a few words. I have overshot my time by quite a few minutes. But it is necessary that we keep this issue alive. It is just 100 days. If you look at it that way, it's just 100 days have passed. It is a long haul. But let us take stands where the minorities in Bangladesh feel confident. They feel reassured. And they tell us we don't want to come to India. You must have noticed that slogan, you must have heard that slogan, Amar Desh, Tomar Desh, Bangladesh, Bangladesh. It's the first time that such a slogan has been given. It is my country as much as yours. My ancestors also created this country. It is my country. Who are you to tell me to leave this country and go to India? That confidence is there. We have to keep giving that confidence. We have to raise our voice publicly. We have to show that we are with them, and we are actually with them, so that the anti-liberation forces feel the heat. There are some who argue, some very responsible people, who argue that we should have a dialogue with the anti-liberation forces. No dialogue is possible with those whose starting point is the destruction of India. No dialogue is possible for those who feel that Hindus have no right to exist under the sun. No question of dialogue. We should be firm, we should be open, and we should carry on as citizens. This is our duty. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I hope to continue engaging and to be able to come here. And it is such an erudite audience because I could, this engaging was extremely good. Thank you very much for your support. And as a Bengali, obviously, some of my emotions came to the fore, but I tried. Had I spoken in Bangla, perhaps that emotion would have been more visible. But many of my friends and colleagues in West Bengal have waited for this program. They're also seeing it. It has gone live. So I hope that we can build up this narrative in the coming days. Thank you so much. Bharat Mata Ki Jai.